Germany and France are members of both the EU and NATO. Both countries have committed to strengthening their ties within the organization and, in the process, signed agreements on defense, security, and economic cooperation. But the friendship that we see is on the exterior. In reality, Germany and France have never stopped being at war. Hi and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm your host Atul Mishra. Let's begin. The history of German-French wars goes all the way back to Middle Ages. By the time of the Renaissance, the two countries had already been involved in numerous battles and wars. The Franco-German Wars of the 19th century resulted in the unification of Germany in 1871 and the establishment of the German Empire. France was a leading maritime and colonial power before the Franco-Russian War. It was humiliated when two of its eastern provinces, namely Alsace and Lorraine, were annexed. Of them, Lorraine was very French. 5 billion francs were paid up by France to the German Empire ahead of the schedule, but the humiliation of losing the provinces played a significant role in dictating France's foreign policy toward Germany and ensuring its continuous animosity towards Germany. Amidst this, Germany was unified, which led to a uniform currency and banking system there. Germany emerged as the economic powerhouse and strongest army in Europe, if not the world from here on. The most famous and destructive wars between the two countries was the First World War. This conflict began in 1914 when Germany declared war on France. A bitter 4-year conflict ensued, resulting in millions of casualties and significant losses on both sides. The war ended with the signing of the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, which imposed harsh terms on Germany. At the Paris Peace Conference, France was the main proponent of severe peace terms for Germany. Germany had to cede Alsace and Lorraine to France under the treaty. France also got hold of Saar Basin, which was a gold mine of natural resources. Germany was made to surrender 13% of its territory and resources. Rhineland was to be demilitarized and France had the right to occupy it till 1935. Further, the clause that Germans found most hurtful was a requirement to accept the responsibility for unleashing the war. This resentment led to the Second World War, which was another major conflict between the two countries, with France falling to Germany in 1940 and the country being occupied by Nazi forces. Hitler instructed his Foch and diplomats to bring the same wagon of Compiègne to the precise location where he and representatives from the Allied powers and the German Empire met on November 8 to discuss the terms of armistice. And at the same spot, the second armistice at Compiègne was signed in June 1940 when Germany was all over France. This conflict ended in 1945 when Germany was defeated and the Allied powers occupied it. The two countries have had a number of conflicts since then, including the Cold War, when Germany was divided by the Iron Curtain into West Germany and East Germany, which ensured that its hostility with France continues. Given that they have the two biggest economies in the continent, the two nations are regarded as pillars of the EU. But the two are still divided on a number of issues. The first is the Midi-Catalonia pipeline. France has reportedly turned down Germany's request to restart the Midi-Catalonia pipeline, also known as the MidCat project. The project aims to build a gas transit network connecting Germany and Spain that will pass through France and has the capacity to move more than 7.5 billion cubic meters of gas. The project can boost Germany's economy, but France is cleverly seizing Germany's economic power. Secondly, the Ukraine war and European defense also continues to be a conflict-creating ground between them. France has continuously been hostile to its European neighbor since the war started. Germany has followed directives from the White House, which has led to a catastrophe on the continent in the form of high inflation, high cost of living, and a fear of a great recession. When the Russian-Ukrainian war broke out, differences between the two countries over matters like energy, defense, and the economy re-emerged. The economic effects of the Russian gas shortage are particularly prominent in the rift. Further, France is furious with Berlin for prioritizing the US and foreign weapons over EU defenses. France also isn't happy with joint defense programs such as the Main Ground Combat System or MGCS tank and the Future Combat Air System or FCAS fighter jet, where the development has already and clearly lagged. In addition, Germany and 14 other European nations except France signed the Sky Shield Initiative, a combined air defense project on the sidelines of the recent NATO conference. This was done despite France collaborating with Italy to create the Mamba anti-missile umbrella project. The 200 billion euros domestic energy aid program by Germany is also a matter of concern for France. Additionally, Mr. Macron stated that Scholz's intention to implement a 200 billion euros assistance program to shield his people and companies from skyrocketing energy prices ran the danger of causing distortions across the bloc. Another point of contention between them is the conflict between Turkey and Greece. Both the European powers have supported the rival factions, with Germany siding with Turkey and France siding with Greece. Geopolitical experts say that this may lead to a big war in the future. Meanwhile, France also has had several breakouts with NATO regarding Turkey. Further, be it defense or energy, both nations have attempted to outplay one another. It may seem from the outside that Berlin and Paris constitute an important part of European unity, but they have always attempted to paralyze each other's growth. With both being in the European Union and NATO, they have not only impeded the growth of each other, but of all of Europe. Geopolitical Europe, which was constructed on the ruins of World War II, is currently facing a crisis, the degree or consequences of which may not be known for some time. The Ukraine war has exposed the vulnerability of European economies as the continent goes through a harsh winter and a worsening energy crisis. Furthermore, the disagreements between the biggest economies of the world have sparked debate if the EU can meet the requirements of its citizens or not.